Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home Service Hustle. I'm your host, Jonathan Bannister, and today I am with Tim Harrell. Tim, thank you for joining the show. I want to talk a little bit about how Tim got started. He is a Texas boy, born and raised. That doesn't happen very often, so that's why I did want to make that point. Went to Baylor. As you see, he's representing the Baylor University on his shirt. But we're going to talk about how he got started in HVAC, how that story ended up to him being the owner and founder of Giddy-Up Heating and Air in Central Texas today. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, John.
So let's talk about it. You went to Baylor. What did you originally go to school for? What was the plan?
I originally went to school for women and beer, to be honest with you. No, I'm just kidding. I started out in business management, and as I kind of preluded, I wasn't in it for actually learning anything. I was out and about. I got out of my parents' house. I wanted to live it up and party. My parents were very strict, very conservative, very Christian. And so once I got out of the house and out of the rules, man, I was in the playground, brother. And of course, I went to classes every now and then, but really I lived for Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights and partying up, being with the fraternity brothers, stuff like that. I did meet a lot of very important people, and I have some very strong connections and even strong connections in the HVAC world through my fraternity and doing all of that. But it took me a lot of growing up on my own, and really, I got kicked out for a long time, and I had to really earn my way back. And so I finally graduated in 2010. I started in 2004, took 2 years of probation, and had to get my act together, and finally came back and finished strong. So that part of your life, I mean, is that do you feel like that part of your story, has molded you into the person you are today? Really and truly, I call it building my testimony, so to speak. I was living it out. But what happened was, like I was saying earlier, I was drinking, partying, drugs, women, all of that. That's what I was really more focused on whenever I was going to school and becoming an adult and stuff. And that's what I focused on, really, and that's all I cared about, But of course, I wanted to make money, of course, and I thought I was going to be a millionaire before I was 30 years old, just because I was doing really well in school. Like, I didn't really have to try. I didn't really study all that much, and I just made good grades. I was naturally smart, so I thought everything is going to be handed to me on a silver platter. But anyways, the bad choices, one led to the other, and I started going down this really dark, lonesome road, really. And that led me to seeking after relationships that weren't getting me anywhere. I was job hopping from one thing to another, not really doing much of anything. I thought I was going to be a professional fisherman for a long time. I did that for a while. But really, I started having to grow up, and I was just working in retail, just doing random stuff, anything to make a buck. But anyways, the main meat and potatoes of my story is that I was in a very, very bad relationship with this woman whom I had children with. And I'm not going to just sit here and point blame at her, because I was at fault too. I was doing a lot of things that I should have been doing, and I wasn't, And so I played a huge part in this, but it was a very volatile and very toxic relationship. And so it turned very abusive, very verbally abusive, and even turned physically abusive, where we were both throwing punches, man. And so one night we were out, got drunk, and came home, turned into a huge fight. And she ended up hitting me over the head with a cross. And I wake up in the hospital. I was in the ICU. They had to have emergency surgery. I thought I was dead for a while, dude. And I thought I was done. I was having these weird dreams and stuff, but I thought I was dead. And so anyways, I wake up, I'm in the in the ICU, on the bed, and I'm like, man, like I was mad. I was pissed that I wasn't dead, dude. And so at that moment, I was like, God, why did you not take me? Why am I not dead? I don't deserve to live. I'm not a good person. Why am I still here? And almost as clear as day, I hear him say, I'm not done with you yet. And so at that moment in time, dude, I gave my life back up. I gave it all to Jesus then. And of course, it took a long time for me to really, well, first I had to relearn how to walk. I have a huge scar in my head. I don't know if you want to see it or not, but I have a huge scar on my head from that time. And I had to move back home, lost my house, lost my family. And man, I was in a really dark place. But I knew that I was here for a reason. I was given a second chance at life for a reason. And I just didn't know what it was yet, So anyways, I'm living at my parents' house for a while, not doing anything. I was an electrician at the time. I was calling into work constantly, didn't really want to do anything. But anyways, my next door neighbor, he was a project manager for a commercial HVAC company in Dallas. And so he came over, it's like, hey man, I could really use the help. We're doing a lot of installs on these rooftop units, going to schools. And so we're doing a campaign of putting these 100 plus rooftop units on these schools, and they require a certified electrician for putting those in. It's like, okay, I can do that. And it's like, well, by the way, we're also offering you more money. You're getting a company van, you're getting benefits and doing all these things. Like, I'm definitely in, dude. And so that began my career in HVAC. But shortly after, it was very short lived. I was only there for maybe 6 months. And this is whenever springtime happened. They started laying a lot of people off. And since I was one of the first people to get hired, or one of the most recent ones to get hired, I was one of the first ones to get cut. Mm-hmm. So got laid off there. And I was planning on going back to being an electrician, doing that again. I applied for a lot of residential places. I heard a lot of places were hiring. So I just massive dump on sending out resumes and stuff like that. So one guy out in Florida called me up. It's like, hey man, I see you don't have a whole lot of experience, but I would love to have you and see what, come up here, do an interview. Let's talk a little bit. I said, sure. So anyways, I go and talk to this guy. The name of the company is Infinity Texas Air. And I don't mind plugging them up here because they're a great company, and I learned a lot from them, and I have a great relationship with them still. But anyways, talked to the head guy there. He said, man, I love your personality. I want to start you off as being an install helper and learn the ropes, dude. Just get out there, learn as much as you can, see how well you do. What do you think of that? And I was like, I don't know if I want to get into residential. I don't know if I like addicts or not, man. It's like, well, come up here, work 2 days, we'll pay you. And if you're good with the guys, if you like it, come back Monday, start brand new and do it for real. It's like, all right, let's do it. So first couple of days, I liked it. I had a lot of fun there, and I just loved the camaraderie of the guys that were doing the installs and stuff, and they had a lot of knowledge, and it's like, you know what, I can be a good fit. I can see me doing this for a long time. And I was bought into the company's vision that they had and where they were trying to go. So I was like, all right, I'm all in. Let's go. And April Fool's Day 2019, I started my career as a HVAC technician. So I don't know if that was a omen or not, but.
So how long were you there?
So I was with Infinity for about 4 years.
Okay.
So I was in Dallas for 4 years. I had an opportunity to come to Waco, and honestly, that was more of that was quite a divine intervention there. My ex-wife and the kids, they moved back to Central Texas where the new husband's from. So I wanted to get, and since I went to Baylor and was from Central Texas, that's where I wanted to go back, So I had an opportunity to move back down to Waco, and I took it. But anyways, whenever I was with Infinity, I started, like I said, as an install helper, moved up to the install lead, and then became an HVAC technician, the service technician, and then I became a lead technician for a hot minute. But I started from the bottom, worked my way up. I started diving into anything and everything that I could. Listened to podcasts, or read books. I got a lot of my inspiration from self-help podcasts, self-help books, and stuff like that. And really, what it came down to, I guess what I'll call my success is whenever I went through a program called Celebrate Recovery, and it's a 12-step program. It's a Christian-based 12-step program. And once I went through that, I also made amends with my ex-wife. Things could have been very volatile as far as a co-parenting relationship goes. You see a lot, or you hear about a lot of people that have these very toxic relationships with their ex and not seeing the kids as often and stuff like that. But through that program, I found out, or I realized a lot of the issues were my fault, and I took accountability for those, and I made amends with her. And without the love of Jesus and forgiveness, we wouldn't have the relationship that we have today. I get to see my kids every single day now. We're both highly involved in their sports and their schooling. In fact, my wife now, she is the stay-at-home mom and homeschool teacher for them.
That's so cool.
I know I'm kind of like going all over the place here, but
I love it, dude. I love it. That's such a cool story, and hopefully that inspires others that may have that volatile relationship with their exes, and there's kids and stepkids and stuff involved, that, here's an example where it doesn't have to be that way.
Absolutely, man. And I could, for the rest of my life, blame her for everything, and I have every right to, and everyone would be on board with that too. And everyone would say, yeah, you're right. She, almost killed you. But they don't also see the other behind the scenes things that I did,
Right.
But also through that, I realized if I could just be more like Jesus whenever I'm in someone's house, whenever I'm giving them service, or whenever I'm giving them options, if I can present it in such a way that I am serving them and offering that love and that passion for them, they see that and they feel that. And through all of the podcasts and through all the books and through all of the speakers that I've listened to, the greatest, I guess, words of advice that I've ever got is just be like Jesus. And I don't want to get too preachy here. I know that, anyways, I don't want to get too preachy here, but I just wanted to share my story with everyone on being someone that was literally left for dead, pretty much having to drag himself up off the floor, and something just finding myself in HVAC, just something that fell into my lap, and now being able to use that as a way to share my story and a way to provide that same, I guess, ministry, if you will, to others. That's what I owe my success to.
I love it. And I appreciate you sharing the story. So talk to me about, you worked for a couple companies before you
Right.
had your own. So what are some of the biggest differences that you've seen now that you can reflect back of working for someone? And I think this is more geared around, you haven't been a business owner. You've been an employee at an air conditioning company longer than you've been a business owner. So I think you might even be able to help some business owners that'll be listening to this that are dealing with these guys that are thinking about wanting to go out on their own, and they're probably telling them and trying to mentor them, like, go, I'd wish you all the best, but just know that it's not as rainbow and butterflies as you think it's going to be. But what do you see as the biggest difference from working for, Affinity? You talked about some people that you highly, have a ton of respect for, and they run a very great operation, you said. So like being an employee and being a business owner, what are some of those biggest things that you can look back on and help educate techs that are listening and thinking about maybe going on their own, but also the business owners that are constantly had to tell guys like, I don't want to lose you, but if you want to try to go do it on your own, go do it.
So I found out really quickly, you get out exactly what you put in.
Okay.
So the effort that you make to get your name out there, and it basically comes down to how passionate are you? How badly do you want this? How much do you want to be a business owner? And it's not just going out there and fixing air conditioners. I mean, yeah, that's fun. That's great and everything. And it's very good that you learn how to fix air conditioners, but how are you going to talk to people? How are you going to learn people? How are you going to connect with them? And how are you going to get those leads? And how are you going to do that? And then on top of that, how are you going to do taxes for this? How are you going to do your payroll? How are you going to make sure the IRS isn't going to come after you? And how are you going to make sure you're going to have money the next month to do this stuff? So there is so much to go on to. And yeah, you can take pride in being a multifaceted technician, knowing everything there is to know about the refrigeration cycle, plumbing, electrical, and all of that. And it's like, oh yeah, I can do this, no problem. And then you get 4 or 5 calls a day working with someone. It's like, oh yeah, I can do this. If I was making this kind of money, dude, I would be a millionaire and whatever, dude. But it's a whole different monster doing everything you see them doing in the office, what you're doing in the van, and then what their CPAs are doing in someone else's office, and having to do all of that under one hat. It's a lot to take in, and it can be a big elephant to eat, but you eat it one bite at a time.
Yeah.
So if you're able to break down each of those facets, okay, what's one small bite I can do here? What's another small bite I can do here? What's the other bite I can do over there? And just reverse engineer it to where you really want it to be. But I'm kind of getting off track here. The thing is that you have to... I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, JB.
No, you're good. So just talking about that shift, those people that are now a shift to the owner, right? Now that you're an owner, like, and you see everything that goes insurance and payroll and, your marketing, there's a lot of things that go into this because, it's not if I build it and start a company, they're just going to come beating down your door, right? If they don't know who you are, they don't know you. And the least they know you, the more expensive all your marketing is. So what advice do you give to the business owners that have guys that are threatening to leave and whatever? Like, would you tell them, I wish you the best of luck and go do it? Do you give them all the advice and roadmap and kind of show them your P&L and everything that goes into it just so that they're fair warned? What do you think?
For one, I believe that a rising tide raises all ships. So yeah, offer as much encouragement as you possibly can, but still be real with them. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, dude. People are not going to call you just because you're open.
Yeah.
You have to build up that Google marketing share. You have to build up the reviews. You have to build up the pre-trust things that go into, okay, if someone has a breakdown and they start Googling or chat GPTing like companies near me and they have a selection of people to choose from, how are you going to get your name into that list?
That's right.
You don't get it just by existing. And so if I'm trying to mentor someone else to be where I'm at right now is, dude, you're going to have to work. And it's not just learning how to work on air conditioners. You're going to have to learn how to market. You're going to have to learn how to build up your web page. You're going to be doing a lot of things that you see people being paid to do on your own and for free. And if you're lucky enough to have a team of people, you're going to have a lot of people to answer to, and all that weight is going to be on your shoulders. Or you're going to have the pressure of being able to generate something out of nothing, like I did. I had $0 and just a personal truck to operate out of first, and I built that out of nothing. And I went door knocking, went door to door saying, "Hey, I'm new to the area, or I'm a HVAC technician, or I just started here and I offer HVAC cleaning services. I'll be more than happy to give you a free tune-up and do this and whatnot." And that's how I kind of started getting people in my neighborhood on board, just door knocking. Or anytime I see someone make a post on Facebook, "Hey, I know that that you're seeking after this. I wanted to be the one that you call." Just a lot of stuff I did for free to get my name out there, or being able to do services for free, like as far as cleaning and stuff like that, stuff that didn't take a lot of parts to do. That's how I built up my nest egg, and then slowly but surely bought a couple of capacitors, bought a couple of contactors, bought UV lights, stuff like that, and just slowly but surely churning to get to where I'm at right now. So it's really not as much as but what you're willing to do and how much work you're willing to put in. You can't just wake up and expect people to call you, and whenever you get home, you can't just go and start playing video games.
Yeah,
it's beyond a 9 to 5. It's beyond a 7 to 3. It's the inner trainings that you have to prep yourself at the end of the day to get ready for the next day or for the next month.
I think it's super interesting that you talk about, you did what you had to do. You knocked on doors, you offered free service, you built those relationships and that trust with your community that you live in first. And then obviously you can branch outside of that, and you're looking at other Facebook posts and things that are taking place. What do you think? I mean, you've worked at some other places. Now, I mean, maybe they were big enough and they had a brand, or they had money to buy the leads and things that they needed to, but I just don't see that very often, that an owner is willing to go canvass a neighborhood and walk and knock on doors and shake hands. Like, what do you think? It's a pride thing? You think it's kind of like the people that are out of shape and they say they don't have time to go to the gym? They don't have that 30 minutes they can find in their life, or what is it?
I think it's that they believe it's beneath them.
Okay.
I think they believe that they're too good for that. They've already earned that stripe, or they somehow earned that position to not have to do that, But you also see people that are going door to door, all these pest control people, or the roofers, or the cleaning people,
Mm-hmm.
They're still knocking on doors and they're getting in the home somehow. So that there is value there. There is immediate seen value of still going door to door and knocking on and getting your foot in the door, literally.
Yeah.
And so that's how I met my pest control person. They came and knocked on the door, went through a few objections. They said, "What's it going to take?" I said, "You can do this for free." "All right, let's do it for free." And so we were able to establish a working relationship after that. Now, they also provided very good service after that.
Yeah.
And I was willing to spend money with them too. So there's a lot of value in providing that for them. And also, like, I didn't offer a whole lot of just free cleanings. It just costs $0 to clean the system out and to do a tune-up for them. And so I still want to, I guess, highlight that, and that doing a lot of things that cost $0 to do, like a tune-up, like a cleaning, and still providing that value, that you're not there to squeeze anything out of them, and you're not going and knocking on the door and doing everything you can to get in there, and then, oh, by the way, you need this UV light. They're not going to go for that.
Right. So I honestly think that if you, and I say you as in general, people that are going to be listening to this, if you were to go knock on doors today and you knocked on 20 people's doors and you said, hey, I'm Tim. I am the owner of this company of Giddy-Up, and I'm in your community. I'm based out of Temple, and here's who I am, and here's what I'm offering. Is I would love to be able to earn your future business, and today I could actually do a free tune-up for you, and if that's something you're interested in, I could go ahead and do it for you. I think you could probably get 8.5 out of those 10 people, or if I said 20, 18.5 to say yes to that. And I think if you walked in the door and you handed each person a very simple rack card, nothing on the back, it's just the front, it's your club membership, it's super easy to understand, basic language that's got some bullets of what you're going to do 2 times a year and how much it costs at $10 a month or whatever. I guarantee you that if you go in there and you actually spent a couple hours doing the right thing and not trying to sell those people, you would probably have a 90% or higher close rate of turning all those into club membership people, because they would earn your respect by providing that much value for free.
Absolutely. And to be quite honest with you and transparent, that's exactly what my door hangers look like. On the front of them, it says a seasonal special of this price or whatnot. But on the back of it, it says join the winner circle. That's what I call my maintenance club. And it's exactly like you said, twice a year, 15% discount on products and services and upgrades. We do this, that, and the other on these tune-ups, 40-point inspection, and it's $10 a month. And like you said, on 20 houses, if I get 4 people, that paid 500 door hangers.
Yeah.
And so even if I get 2 people, that's enough money to get me through the week, And so that's enough to, even just doing that, just focusing on the numbers game like you're talking about, that's how I was able to gain the trust or gain the first foot in the door.
Yeah.
And they start asking me questions. I'm very upfront and honest with them. Well, yeah, this is what's happening. This is why it's happening. I don't recommend doing it this way, but I do recommend doing it this. And you start gaining that trust and you start gaining that education, you're going to get that loyalty. Mm-hmm. And like you said, people respect hustlers. They respect you getting out there in a world where is dominated by the private equity firms or dominated by these big box people. And seeing someone that's out there willing to grind, willing to hustle, and willing to do things the right way, they respect that. Yep. And so if you can get past the first hurdle of, you're bothering them on their dinner time and family time or whatnot, if you can get them through that wall, there's, like you said, I do have about a 90% close rate on my memberships.
Yep.
And even on services, I do have about an 80%, it's 87% closing rate, because I'm able to gain that trust or gain someone talking about me saying, hey, I highly recommend Tim with Giddy-Up. He's done this and done that and done this. And so they call me. I'll come out to their house and say, yeah, this is exactly what's going on with your system. This is what I recommend doing. I do have an 87% close rate on products and services and even installations.
Yeah.
So, but this is going back to exactly what you said.
What are the plans? So this was year 1 for you, right?
Right.
So what are the plans?
So quite honestly, I am working a day job, and then I work from 3 p.m. until night, doing Giddy-Up, and then all day on the weekends, obviously.
Okay.
But by this time next summer, or not this time, but by beginning of next summer, I plan on being full 100% Giddy-Up. And so I'm almost to the point where I'm having to hire someone. I'm actually in the market to hire someone, because I'm starting to get so many calls during the day that I can't leave my day job first. I'm in a contract, but I'm getting busy enough to where I'm having to hire on other employees that I can't handle it by myself. And so the plans are by next year having at least 2 vans going, at all times having an install crew. Right now, I'm subbing out my installs to someone that I highly trust, someone that came highly recommended, and I had to vet them out. I had to vet out a couple of different crews, but I have one person that stood out, and he has a crew, and they do things exactly the way that I want them to be done. And I go behind them and do a quality check, and I also go over how everything works, how the thermostats work, how this works, and I also go ahead and I do the warranty stuff for them. And have all the paperwork ready for them, so that way they don't have to worry about a single thing whenever it's time to turn it on. And so, anyways, hopefully this time next year, there's 2 vans going, a full install crew going. But I'm trying to do things as organically as possible, starting off with $0, but trying to focus on doing things the right way. Everything that comes out of mouth is the truth, and just giving them not just the old school way of doing things, mixing a lot of the new school stuff, because most of the stuff I do as far as my marketing and my Facebook posts and stuff like that, that's all open AI. That's ChatGPT doing that for me. And so I'm utilizing a lot of new school stuff with old school approaches, and that seems to be working.
I love it, dude. I love your story. I love your passion for this industry and, doing things the right way. And as you know, like when you treat people fair and honest, you're transparent, like you said, just live and be more the Jesus way, right? So if you're treating people that way in your personal life and your business life, then I think nothing but good things come. So, dude, absolutely, I appreciate the time and sharing the story. And we all at Top Serve and Home Service Hustle wish you nothing but the best. I'm super excited to see, because you're just right down the road. So I'm super excited to see what happens over the next couple of years, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm more than happy to let you know how it goes. Yeah. I just really love serving people. I love being able to help others. And, if anyone else has any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm an open book, man. And so
I just
enjoy helping others.
Reach out to Tim if you've got any questions or thinking about going on your own, but we'll definitely have Tim back. We'll have him back. We'll make note. We'll have him back this time next year, September, October of 2026, so that we can hear the updates and how Giddy-Up is doing. How's it sound?
I'm looking forward to it, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, John.